to those.
Yeah, like what made you shoot that video?
Why?
Already
Like, yeah, data now.
Yeah.
Exa. Hashtag TVT SABC 1 Thursday 7:30. Ayindawo. Zoba mnandi kasi.
It was Human Rights Day yesterday in South Africa, so now we're going to ask the question to someone who should know because she's been involved in writing, especially around race, gender issues, non-racial sport in South Africa for, over 20 years. Cheryl Roberts, welcome to SPORTAT10. How are you?
Thank you very much for having me. I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. But let's get straight into that question. We are now many, many years into a new South Africa, so I almost feel embarrassed to ask you, is there still racism in SA sport?
There's racism, there's sexism, there's homophobia, there's sexual abuse of girls and women in sport, there's gender discrimination, a lot of negatives, but there's also the positives, which I know you're not asking me about right now.
No.
There's the growth, there's the development and the advancement. The racism is there. This issue of the white gaze when it comes to selection, primarily in sports of cricket, rugby, the marginalization of the black woman in sport, especially the black African woman. Last year, we had an amazing year for black women in sport. Caster Semenya, Olympic champion. Zanele Situ, Paralympic bronze medalist. Before that, she was the Paralympic champion. But she's not celebrated in her country. But as she herself has noted, it's because I'm black.
I've had Zanele Situ in the studio with me. I think, myself as someone in sport, that she would be almost a household name. She's been involved in Paralympic sport for 10, 15 years or so. So how do you...
And she's not a millionaire yet. Why not? And she's brought such glory to the country. And we had Noni Tenga, world boxing champion. They are black women. They are not accorded or given what is rightfully theirs for having achieved.
Here's my question when it comes to that. You blame the media to a great extent, because I did a lot of reading and I read a lot of the article that you've written. You're saying the media hasn't done enough. Now, is it about that the media is not interested in the achievement, or has the achievement only been recent in order for the media to get behind it?
No, it's about consciousness. It's the male-dominated patriarchal society that we live in. And it's about let's project as many men, let's project as many white people or white women, and leave out as many others. And
but the media is also black, Cheryl.
there.
I mean, there's black journalists out there. Why would they be pushing only white people?
No, maybe they're not pushing just white people. They are pushing the men. There are days in sport on print media where... Today I looked at the Star on my way Durban to Johannesburg. I looked at Mail and Guardian, Cape Times. 90% is given to men's coverage in sport. 90% across the country. It shouldn't be. But you blame editors. Consciousness was the word that I used. What is your consciousness? Don't you ask yourself, what society am I living in? There are various genders there. Why is it just the men? You are reinforcing, dominating this view that it's the men who are supreme. Girls are growing up in sport thinking there are no heroines. There are no black women heroines. But yes, admittedly, there is some improvement by some percentage.
If I look at, say, football, which is where I spend most of my time talking about that, we've been non-racial in football since the 70s, even before that. And if
long way, from the 1950s.
So that long ago.
Yes,
And also, when I look at women's footballers, they are household names in South Africa.
Oh, but they are not given the support they should be given.
Everybody knows who
in South
Janine Van Wyk
Africa
is. Everybody knows who Noku Matlao is. Everyone knows Portia Modise.
There's no women's professional league in football. How do they compete with the best in the world or get to improve their rankings when every time we are told, no, you will be getting something better, but it's just a little bit more crumbs. But it's throughout Africa. Women's football is given a raw deal. It's the men and the boys. Boys' football is given much more than the women's football. And women's football is one of the fastest growing, most popular sports played by women in the world. I see some good news. Australian cricket has announced a massive increase in salaries going to be accorded, not awarded, they've earned it, to their women cricketers.
And South Africa doing the same, Cheryl. Our South African women's cricket team Big sponsorships just arrived. Team is going
They
to the
have
World
also
Cup.
improved. Look, there is improvement, there's no doubt. But we've got to keep hammering and keep saying this gender discrimination and imbalances has got to end. And unless we keep raising it, it's not going to have anything much effect. And we need some strong voices talking out. I'm not the only one. There's many who will talk out. The women in sport and the officials, they are in difficult positions. I'm not covering for them. I'm saying that if they speak out, the funding maybe to a particular sport may be stopped or but slowed down. If the women in sport speak out, they get called to task. Why are you talking out against us?
Can I throw something out? And this is going to be a little bit controversial, but are women themselves, in terms of supporters of sport, women, supporting enough women? Because the population of South Africa is more than half women. But if you go to a women's football match, the crowd is not more than half women. They're not coming to watch women themselves. So why would... But if you go watch the male game, half the crowd on that day is women in the audience.
That is so.
So where are women to support women?
The women are supporting mostly the men. I've asked this in my writings, in my opinions. I'm also stunned by it. Why are you doing that? And some of them will answer. They find the men's game much more interesting. That is the women. Their consciousness is also something else. Eh? It doesn't mean because they are women they have the most critical consciousness. Sometimes they're not even aware that they are being discriminated against.
And they're discriminating
women can
themselves.
be their own enemies, exactly, and they'll go and support the men. You won't see them at women's cricket matches, but they are there supporting at the men's cricket matches. Most of them will say, we don't know, it's not publicized. We have to allow for that, because sometimes it's not publicized, or you don't, some of us are just aware of it. But it is correct, you're very correct in saying that the women are not supporting the women in sport. Look, we need a national campaign. From Sport and Recreation South Africa, from SASCOC, they are the custodians of national sport in the country. One of my recent writings and opinion articles, I've called for a minister that will be a woman of sport, that will focus just on girls and women in sport. No, we don't want to be subdivisions. We don't want to be a little small group on a woman of sport. He or she or gender non-conforming person will look at just that.
Cheryl,
and
that is an idea that I'm sure everybody in South Africa has heard. Thank you very much for being with us. On the back of Human Rights Day, some good things and also some things that we really need to think about as South African sports people.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cheryl Roberts, for those straight opinions. We're going to a quick break. After the break, the beef is over and they come into the studio. It's Cleo and Briggs.
This is the reason